Good morning, everybody. It is 7:24. Welcome back to Great Day for this Tuesday. It's the 26th of May, and Tuesdays about this time we get a little political as we visit with the party scoopers, Republican and a Democrat, to find out what their thoughts are on various topics. Craig Robinson is here, and we also have Jeff Link from Link Strategies joining us. So each side is represented, and I believe it's your turn, young man.
Well, actually, you know, we have to volley it over to Jeff since he has a little political news this week.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, Democrats coming to town. I mean,
whoa, what's going on?
It's you know, a little bit rare that we have Democratic news as opposed to Republican news because we don't have the 15 candidates that Craig has to talk about. But this
Are
week,
you up to 15?
my car is
Saturday,
feeling the wear and tear.
Okay.
yeah, on Saturday this week, Martin O'Malley is going to make an announcement about his intentions. He's, of course, the former governor of Maryland, and he's having a press conference in Baltimore. We don't know exactly what he's going to say, but oddly enough, he's going to come to Iowa right after his announcement in Baltimore. So
Most people who get in the presidential race, they have a press conference and then they come to Iowa and they say, I'm not doing it. I quit.
Well, that's kind of getting the feel right now with no one committing to the straw poll. We're kind of wondering what's going on.
You know, I think straw polls in some serious trouble here where, you know, they've had two very high-profile candidates skip. And it's one thing when Jeb Bush, the national frontrunner, says, I'm not participating. That's something that you kind of can foresee happening. It's another thing when a guy who has won the Iowa caucuses before, whose strategy totally centers on winning Iowa again, takes a pass and says, I don't think that this event is actually going to help me achieve my goal.
Like,
and so now we're waiting for who's going to commit to it and who's not. And we also run into this little problem where you have candidates who aren't formally announced. And so, I mean, legally, you have to kind of watch what you do here when you have super PACs and 527 groups. You can't just, you know, blurt something out and say, well, hey, I'm running, even though we see that once in a while. But, you know, Scott Walker is saying, who I think is the big chip left to play here. You know, if he participates in the straw poll, I think it'll happen. But their campaign is saying, and I think this is legitimate, we'll make this decision once we make the decision to run. And so the clock is on with the straw poll, and we'll see, you know, how many more commit to it or if anyone else drops out.
So it's good to hear some news from the Democratic side. Do we think this has some good energy behind it?
I think O'Malley will be a strong candidate in this race. I think he will give Secretary Clinton a challenge. Obviously, we have Bernie Sanders in the race already, and Sanders has generated support. We talked about some of the staff in the previous weeks. And so, in fact, I think that it's good for the party. Right? It's good for the Clinton campaign, it's good for the O'Malley people, and it's good for Sanders to have a competition.
Now, do the O'Malley people really think, I'm being totally honest here because a lot of people are thinking this, do they really think they have a shot in Hades to beat Hillary?
Well, here's how I think the calculus kind of works. There is no one in America on the Republican side or the Democratic side that wants to see a coronation for President of the United States. No one wants to see that. So that's a powerful factor that you have to consider. And the second thing is elections are about choices. And so you want to be the alternative to the front runner, particularly when you know that no one wants a coronation. And so I think what Governor O'Malley is taking a look at this race and saying, nobody wants a coronation, everyone wants an alternative. I just need to put myself in a position to be that alternative.
I actually like the move because, you know, he's going to be able to campaign and run his own way and not have any expectations. And yet, you got 20 Republican candidates and all of the news coverage focused on anything Hillary Clinton does that's out of school. And so, you know, look, if she falters, so it's going to go somewhere. I mean, we had a situation here in this congressional district where Tom Latham made it you know, hey, I'm not running for re-election. And I mean, jump ball. And so it's the people who were there who are ready to capitalize on that moment. So in politics, you never know what's going to happen. And so what might seem like a far-fetched race today could actually end up being very competitive. Or you know, who knows where he's going to be in the next 8 months, and who knows where Hillary's at. So there's a lot of question marks. So just because we're confident in what we believe and see today doesn't mean that's going to hold true for the next 8 months.
Now, are you guys confident on how the first debates are going to be held? So there's so many contenders on your side of the field that they're having to break it down to polls.
Look, so the big criticism of the Iowa straw poll was that it winnowed the field, that if you didn't exceed your expectations, you were sent home. And so now we have debate criteria set up by CNN and Fox News that is really going to winnow the field. If you're not in those debates, your candidacy is in severe problems.
Right.
And
is that fair? Because some might have more money and superpower.
Guys like
right
Rick
now?
Santorum are making a strong argument that it's not fair. And you know, he's saying, look, I was nowhere in the polls and, you know, ended up basically finishing second in this whole race. And I think one of the other big problems, too, is that this first debate is in Ohio, so they're using national criteria, where when we have a debate in Iowa or there's a debate in New Hampshire or South Carolina, there's usually a state component that if you meet one threshold or another, you're allowed in. This is much more difficult for these candidates who, you know, don't have a lot of name ID, are not spending time nationally building their name ID. How do they bump it in a national poll? It's really difficult, and I almost think it makes these candidates who are on the fringe there, they're almost going to be rewarded for doing something crazy just to spike their name ID to get into these debates. But if you're not on that debate stage, and look, we're arguing like the debate stage is still going to be 10, which is too many.
Right.
But if you're not in those first debates, I think your campaign is going to be, you're going to be viewed differently by Iowans and by other people across the country. So
by definition, you're going to be second tier.
Yeah.
And so it is an interesting thing. I mean, we had news about another straw poll. Was it over the weekend?
Yeah, the
in
Southern
Oklahoma.
Republican.
So they had the Southern Republican meeting. The only news that came out of that I saw was the Ben Carson one. Not that there were people that participated or didn't participate. And I just think that sort of diminishes the impact of these straw polls further when you get a candidate like
Jeff, you got
Carson
something
win.
with Sam?
I do. So we do have a little bit of news. Sam Recker, who oftentimes fills in for me, is in Jamaica over the weekend on vacation with his girlfriend Laura Henderson and proposed to her. And they're getting married. We don't have a date yet.
The first thing they did was send you a picture?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Check in with the boss.
Are they back yet?
No, they're not.
Okay,
back.
we know where he lives.
Yes.
We did not TP your apartment.
Yet.
Yes, he. That picture was from Facebook.
congratulations.
It was very exciting.
Good, congratulations to him.